Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel. It's Hila here, Saturday Night Stitch, and I hope you're having a fabulous August wherever you are. It's currently the peak of summer in my garden, so most of my flowers are all of these gorgeous sunny yellowy full of bright sunshine flowers. So I've got some perpetual sunflowers, some marigolds, some zinnia, some gazania, some crochismas, different varieties, and some nasturtiums. So wherever you are in the world, I am sending you this lovely posy of summer sunflowers from here in the north of England, where we are enjoying a really glorious summer. So we're just going to pop the little bouquet of flowers over there. It was very hard to pick flowers because everything is just absolutely gorgeous, but I thought I'd go with the sun theme since we are in August. So lovelies, we are here for the Burda Style 9/2022 issue, and I must say, heads up right at the beginning, I love this issue. I really like this issue. I think it's got some great designs, some great basics, as well as some unique, interesting types. And I can see this one being a very popular one. So let's have a look at why I actually quite like this. So this arrived whilst I was away on holiday. So that's why my Browsethrough is a little bit late. And then we had to go through the whole decamping process and etc. etc. But here we are. Okay. The cover style, I don't have much to say about it because it's not in the colors that I normally like. But there we go. So again, they're really moving into doing this whole couture, tying it in with the catwalk styles. So if you're familiar with patrones, this is the sort of thing that you would see in patrones. Okay, so off the bat, we've got this lovely cropped jacket, which I must say I haven't seen this particular style in a recent Burda issue. So that automatically for me was a good, oh no, snap, this is pretty awesome. So it's got the welt pockets here, really good, and it's got a grown on sleeve. So again, they've used a beautiful fabric here with the statement buttons, and I think that it just creates a beautiful overall look, but you could play around with some contrasting fabric here. I have a similar jacket that I made from a March 2016 issue, and this style is surprisingly wearable in autumn. So I was quite surprised with that jacket by the time I finished it at how wearable it is, and I still do wear it. My only biggest regret is that I didn't line it. I skipped the lining because I was a bit lazy and I was a beginner seamstress. But yeah, I wouldn't skip the lining, and I also skipped the pockets, which was just the worst thing because it's a really perfect to wear jacket, except for the fact that each time I go to reach out to put my hands in a pocket, they aren't there. So if you make this one, don't make the same mistake I did of skipping the pockets because you're just like, I can't wait to wear it. But I like this, and I can see this one being quite popular. And I also like how they've styled it with the white trousers and the black turtleneck. And if you're already beginning to think about your fall capsule wardrobe, which I'm kind of already thinking about, I can see how I could incorporate this, but maybe with black trousers and a black turtleneck, and then just have this as a statement. So fabulous. I was very happy about that. And also it's one of the masterpiece patterns, so pretty awesome. And then we have this skirt, and oh my days, I know that the style details on this skirt are quite simple. It's basically sort of like an A-line, but then you've had this drape and the asymmetrical detail, and I think that, the soft gamine in me loves the asymmetrical detail that's going on here and the waist definition. And I love this so much, and I loved the fabric that they used. And so I'm actually looking for sort of like a poly wool mix fabric in some sort of a tartan, some sort of a check to actually use for that. And how gorgeous is the styling with the booties and the tights and the top. Really gorgeous. I actually really liked this. I'm quite curious to see why they're calling this an easy model, because I would not call darts and a waistband something that is easy for skirts. For skirts, an easy one should just be an elasticated casing. Then you can sell that to a beginner. But I love that. Absolutely love that. And then over here, we have a really gorgeous style top with some ruching detail here. Now, ruching for me it's one of those things that can either really work well for you or it just doesn't. And if it doesn't, it's okay. You can just accept it. And I think you can tell I'm speaking from personal experience that for me, ruching just, I wanted to love it so much because I love it when I see people wearing ruched stuff. But on me, it just doesn't create the same effect. On me, it makes me look more stocky than anything else, particularly around the waist. But on others, like on this model, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I thought that this was quite a nice addition. It's been a while since we've seen a shirt that's got some intricate, unusual detail there. I mean, push comes to shove, for me personally, if I decided that I liked really the fit around the shoulder, I mean, you could just do it without the ruching, couldn't you? Let's see what that looks like. But so far, 3 out of 3 solid patterns within the first 3. So really great stuff. And then we've got here this top, which has got a knot detail here, right? And on this one, it's got a ring. I don't know if you can see that. Initially, when I saw this drawing, I thought it was one of those where you've got 2 pattern pieces that interlock like that. And I have traced out a pattern from, I think it was January 2019. They had a dress that has got this thing here, except for instead of a ring that you have to sew into, you knotted the fabrics together. But then it was upon closer inspection that I realized, oh, that's quite interesting. Now, this is going to be a bit of a faff to make, right? But then when you look at the image, you can't see it. So I'm not necessarily sure that it is worth the kerfuffle. I suppose if you made it in a solid color and you've got your ring here in like a gold or a blingy material so that that's like the feature, then maybe we could, then maybe we could talk. But I think I like the V-neck. I know, and I wonder if this would be easy to adapt to just make it the simple close locking mechanism. Okay, and then it wouldn't be a September issue without some trousers that could be worn or made out of like a wool or a wool crepe fabric. And then we've got these relatively high-waisted, but they've got a straight waistband. Now, straight waistbands, again, is one of those things that if they work for you, they look absolutely amazing. But if they don't work for you, then you have to adapt the pattern to make it a contoured waistband, which is what I have to do. Because for me, whenever I try to do a straight waistband that's more than even 1 inch thick, it sort of curls in on itself. So I've had to learn the adaptation of actually making it into a contoured waistband if I wanted it to be a little bit thicker. But apart from that, all of the other details are pretty solid. We've got a fly front over here. We've got some darting for shaping. So it's not overly voluminous, but it's just got the right amount, which I think is great for winter, particularly in a wool crepe. And then you've got that little turn cuff here and some piping. And sometimes just little details like that, for me, they make up for the fact that I don't have as much color or variety to wear in autumn, winter, because I'm primarily a dresses person. But I thought fabulous. And also the styling, I got some great ideas for styling here. Okay, and then we've got the sheath dress, which again, it wouldn't be a September issue without a sheath dress of some sort. And what I like about this one is the little stand collar here. I don't know, guys, there's just something about a stand collar that just adds a little je ne sais quoi. It sort of reminds me of, those Audrey Hepburn films like Charade and what have you. So I think that's quite nice. And you've got some princess seam lines. And what's unique about this particular one is that we've got a center front seam, which means you have to use a very stable fabric so that when you're sewing that seam and you're double stitching it, it doesn't sort of like buckle and go wavy. But a cotton sateen would work. What did I use on this one? Oh, they used Ponte Roma for this one. And that's some excellent stitching skills, because if you look on the image, there's hardly any buckling or any stretching out of the knit fabric. But this would be a comfortable, really nice autumn staple, I would say. And then over here we have a vest, a really voluminous style vest. So as you can see, she's actually wearing a bat wing or a dolman wing top underneath, and it's not interfering with the vest itself, or the top isn't being interfered on by the vest. And we've got an elasticated belt. exposed zipper over there. Lovely. I think it's all right. I personally wouldn't make these because I'm not a big fan of wearing vests. I tend to wear jackets or no jackets at all, but I'm not the in-between kind of person. But I can see how cute that looks. Oh, and then we have the dress that really did catch my eye. And it's because it's got these shoulder flanges. And basically a shoulder flange usually is like a hidden pleat. And it's a really great detail. It's, I think I've only ever really seen these in patterns from the 1980s. That seems to be a bit of a big thing when big shoulders were a thing with the 80s. And I feel like big shoulders are making a bit of a comeback because a shoulder flange basically to a figure with stooped and narrow shoulders, it sort of squares and extends the top line of the silhouette here. So it gives you a very defined shoulder, which I think is having a bit of a moment. And then for this one, we've also added a little bit, a touch of softness to it with these pleats over here. And they just add a little bit more volume, even though you can't quite see them because of the busy print, but they add some volume, and that volume in a drapier fabric kind of softens and counters the enhanced shoulder look. So I can see this one being incredibly popular. So I just wanted to very quickly show you what that would look like. So I went and I grabbed my pattern drafting book because I wanted to really get an idea of how it would work. So it's called a flange, right? And it's when you're sort of like trying to add some definition. So we can see over there, right? And it comes in all different varieties. So as you can see, I remember seeing a lot of this in the 80s. So the flange, if you make it wider, you can create those wings, right? And this is what your flange pattern piece would look like. And that's quite fun, I think. And so these are some different ideas of how flanges have been used in the past in, you know, very 80s style. But I think it's done really well here. It doesn't scream 80s the way that it's been done because it's a very subtle flange. So yeah, great stuff. And I think it would be easy to remove this origami pleating at the waist if you didn't want that. And then we've got the jumpsuit here, the jumpsuit of dreams, so to speak. It reminds me of a Macau's jumpsuit that I once attempted to sew up, but I gave up because it's got a waistband. Most of the jumpsuits that I've seen, they tend not to have a waistband. It's just sort of a seam, but this one has got a waistband. And on top of a waistband, it's got what looks like a fly front opening and buttons down the side. I'm not seeing a zipper anywhere, so I'm guessing that the practical function of this is when nature calls, you'd have to unbutton this and then unzip that and then do what you will. So that's my biggest issue with jumpsuits. As fantastic as they look, I just can't get around that issue. But great details, and what a fantastic fabric that they have used. This definitely caught my imagination. And I must say, because it's such a wide leg, in the first look, I actually thought this was a dress, and I love it as a dress. I love the idea of making this in some sort of a viscose crepe fabric, a slightly thicker one, maybe like a bubble crepe fabric, and then wearing it with a turtleneck and being this long, tights and boots, and boom, a perfect fall outfit. But it's simple enough to change into a maxi dress. I'm just personally not a huge fan of jumpsuits. And also you could make a nice pair of wide leg trousers with that. So fabulous stuff. And also I love the excellent details that whoever Burda gets to tailor these does, because the pleats are actually, the lines here are actually lined up on the waistband. Can you see that? You know, it's lovely when you see such detail, such attention to detail, because you don't, you know, they don't have to. It could just be done, but they get it done. And then we have a tutorial on how to make that waistband over there. Some lovely Miller appliances. Okay, and then we go on to the modern heritage section, and this is the petite size from 17 to 21, and it is a skirt, flared skirt with a lot of ruching detail at the waist. I'm not a big fan of ruching detail at the waist. You know, I've got a little bit of a belly, and I feel like this emphasizes it on me personally. Some people may be able to carry it off, like she's carrying it off beautifully, but on me, it would just look really chunky. I once made something very similar, and that's how I learned. But, you know, sometimes if you see something that you like and you've never actually worn it or tried it before, definitely go for it. I wouldn't rule it out just because you think it might not work, because you won't know until you actually try it on. And if you don't, you kind of get stuck in this thing of, oh, it might have been, oh, it might not have been. So another workaround that I do is I will try and find a similar style in charity shops before I commit to sewing. Back in the day when I was a new seamstress, I just used to sew it up even if I wasn't sure whether I'd like the style or not. But yeah, so definitely advise, if you can, finding something to try out. So this might work for you. It hasn't worked for me, unfortunately, but for some people, they can carry it off. And then we have what I like to call the January issue top, because I think every single issue in January has got this oversized sweater top, which tends to have the drop shoulders and the sleeves. And this one has got the distinction of having a scarf, an integrated scarf attached to it, so that you don't have to worry about matching your pullover to your scarf. So little nice touch. And then we've got another sheath dress, which is just another standard style, but this time we've got a scooped square neckline over here, more like a square neckline, but a rounded square neckline. Darts for shaping at the back, and princess seam lines. This is your, I think, your wedding guest dress or your office dress in a more solid color. Lovely fabric as well. So one of the other things, incidentally, that I have noted about Burda is that they have been moving more towards making sure that they're selling the fabrics that they have used for the garments they've made from the magazine. So if you're if you get absolutely stuck and set on this particular fabric, you're actually able to buy it, which I think is a really cool thing. Okay, moving swiftly on, we have that vest again, but it has been made in this boucle wool fabric. And it's a very interesting take on trying to make something that's more sportswear into kind of like a suit, a two-piece suit. And it's got the matching skirt, which is this really simple pencil skirt, which has these yokes over here. But what a waste to have the yoke pattern and then you use a busy fabric like this and you can't really see it, because ideally you do that, wouldn't you? Use a contrast, preferably a darker contrast, and sort of like create a nice silhouette. There we go. And then that's the same skirt over there, but this time made in like a suede type fabric. And then, oh guys, this is one of those that I definitely want to make. I love everything about this shirt. I think I'm on a bit of a shirt making phase or binge at the moment. I'm currently just finishing up a Grainline Studio Archer button-up shirt, and I have been loving every single moment of sewing it. And what I love about this particular one, right, is that it's got this cute little Peter Pan collar over here, Peter Pan shaped collar, and then it's got some bust studs for some shaping. So the Archer, it doesn't have any bust studs or anything like that, or any shaping, just sort of like goes straight down. But more importantly, look at how cute those pleated details on the cuff are. And at first when I saw these in the line drawings, I was like, oh no, I won't be doing that. That's just going to be a little bit of a fuff. But I like the everything else about it. But then when I actually saw it in print, I was like, oh no, I love it. I'm going to go for it. And it doesn't look like the pleats on it are very small and discreet. And they don't look like they would interfere with the functioning of my hands. Because my big issue with things around here is I don't like them to get in the way. Like if I'm washing my hands, for them to then dip into the water, or anything, for any bits to dip into the water. So I love that. I love everything about this. So I was like, yeah, this one definitely will make this probably in like a twill, a tencel twill fabric, and I would make this in solids within my colors, so probably a charcoal gray and a navy one, so that I can wear it with my, I've got a couple of multicolor bead necklaces that I like to wear in winter, so I can see myself wearing, where's that skirt, right? This skirt, maybe in a wool crepe, and this top here, and then I've got my beaded necklaces with the matching earrings, and I can wear my thick woolly tights and my boots and the coat over there, and I'm sorted. So these two, I was so excited about this issue. I can't tell you how excited I was about it. And then the pleated skirt. I love these skirts so much. They don't look as great on me, but I really do love them, particularly because they've got the yoke here down to the hip, and then you've got the waist segmentation over there. So I am actually going to try and make this, but choose a fabric that would work in my favor. I think in the past when I've made something like this, I've used a stiff jacquard fabric, which has just stuck out awkwardly on here, because you know jacquard, it doesn't have a lot of drape, it's got a lot of structure, and I don't think that works well for it. So I haven't given up on the idea of making something like this work, because again, I like this look with the roll neck, and the thing is that and you can make it longer as well, because I feel like this would be a little bit on the short side for me. And then we've got a lovely little top, which is the sewing lesson as well. So it's a turtleneck with the integrated scarf. So my takeaway from this issue is that big shoulders are a bit of a thing, and integrated scarves apparently are a thing. I imagine there was a designer somewhere who kept on saying, oh, I keep forgetting my scarf. Oh, where's my scarf? If only I had a scarf right now. And then they just were like, hang on, what if I included the scarf on the actual top? And then boom, a trend was born, and now you kind of see these everywhere. And then we have, I think, the pièce de résistance of this issue, which is the duffel coat. Who doesn't love a duffel coat? I love this duffel coat. They are so practical, so useful, but more importantly, they can look quite stylish, particularly if you have like what they have used here, a giant stripe. It just gives it such a statement, you know, and you don't even need to have anything else. Just, I think she's wearing some gnarly denim, stonewashed denim jeans here, wears with some booties, pull the hoodie up if you couldn't be asked to do your hair, and then boom, you look stylish. I love this. I really would love to make this, and it's got like these really gigantic pockets. Yeah, and I like how they've lined it with a smaller check on the inside, just to add some contrast and some detail. And this is the sort of thing that you're going to be wearing this for years, so it's worth getting a really nice quality fabric for it. So this is, I like this very much. And then that shirt with the shirring at the bottom, it's been lengthened into a dress. And this is a personal gripe of mine, but I don't like zips on here. So can you imagine having a zipper right there, that every time you wanted to roll up your sleeves, you have to unzip, roll up your sleeves, and then if you wanted to make it look good, you have to roll it up and then zip it down again. So I think I take it all except for that here, but I can see this one being popular. Nice print that they have used there. Don't like the pairing with these trousers underneath. I don't think that works very well. And there's that sewing lesson over there. Fantastic stuff. And then I love what they're doing now, where they're spotlighting a seamstress from the Burda community and showing some of the Burda things that, you know, they've made. And look at, I think it's just really wonderful. It's like seeing the Burda creations out in the wild and not necessarily seeing them in the context of a hyper-sterilized, controlled photo shoot with professional photographers and, you know, equipment that's worth tens of thousands of pounds and what have you, but you're just seeing it out in the wild, and you can see how great the variety and the designs that you get are. So I love that, absolutely love that. Plus you also get somebody inspiring to follow if you're somebody who gets Burda magazines and you're just looking for ideas, because sometimes you don't know how good a style is until you see somebody else wearing it, and that's fab. Okay, and then we've got that dress again with the shoulder flange, but this time it is in a gorgeous purple amethyst, beautiful crepe fabric. It's so, I love everything about this. I really, really love the color, and I love the boots, and I love the bag. I would have gone for a black belt personally, but I can see how they're going for different tones of the same color, but absolutely beautiful. So again, we've got those details, and you can see how with any other fabric, you wouldn't have this softness. So you get that, see if we can zoom in. You're getting that soft drape. That's a nice balance to the sharpness of the shoulder that you get with the flange there. So the thing about the shoulder flange is it actually allows you to have a closer fit around here, because you can get more movement by having the pleat, because you've got some extra movement opportunities there. So details to very simple, straightforward, long down with slits at the end here. A vest that you can wear over your loungewear. To me, this looks more like loungewear. And then we have a top here that I'm in a little bit of two minds about, hence it's got the question mark asterisk on here, and it's because it's got a really lovely, interesting detail here with this flap on the sleeve. And that flap, it would be such a faff to make, but as you can see, it does create a very interesting detail. And it's interesting enough not to make it a once in a wardrobe type of thing, you know, because it's not too statement-y is what I'm saying, because you can easily dress this down by just putting a blazer over it, and it just looks like you're wearing a simple top over it. So yeah, I'm in two minds about this, but it's going to go on the must consider pile. And then over here we have the fuzzy jacket, and we know it's fuzzy because the line drawing has got the little fuzz marks here. And it's got pockets, which are very useful in this cropped style of jacket. I can't quite tell from what she's wearing, but the indication on the line drawing is that it actually goes narrow in at the hip or the waist, but it's difficult to tell here because of the way that they have styled it. But you know, that's all right. I prefer the first one, the one that's a bit more tailored and a little bit more structured to this one. And here you can see it's styled on one of the workers at the Burda offices. And you can kind of see how that might work. Oh my days, this is making a comeback. Oh, this is welcome. And then over here we've got that wrap skirt again, but this time it's just fastened by a safety pin. I would never ever feel safe to just have a safety pin between me and my modesty. So I'd definitely be putting a button on there rather than relying on a safety pin. A really great Halloween style. And then for the tall patterns, we have the Malena trousers, these wide leg, high waist trousers that are just so dramatic and so beautiful. I think the only other person who comes to mind is Katharine Hepburn. I think she used to rock these trousers really well. And you've got the welt pockets there. Can't not love this style. And then we've got some really lovely boucle style fabric here that it's got like a stripe to it. Really rich winter colors as well. I quite like this. But what I like about this is the same sheath dress as before, and it had that 60s style digital print. But this one, because it's a really dark background color, it really makes a statement of the neckline. It's a really beautiful neckline, I think. Yeah. It's got these are just pleats. There aren't any dots here, it's just pleated, so it creates almost like a tulip silhouette. Beautiful. And at the back it's got an exposed zipper. Whew, good luck putting an exposed zipper in boucle, my friends. Not sure I'd attempt that. And then you've got a little styling section just giving you some ideas of how to put some of these clothes together, which is always a fabulous thing. And then we've got on the Burda Plus section, they're going with the metallic trend, or what I like to call the aluminium foil blouses, which, yeah, I'm not too keen on. However, for me in these trousers, if you can look past the peach foil leather that they have used over here, and try and imagine this, say maybe in a burgundy or a spruce, or something darker. I think that again they are quite gorgeous. Hip yoke pockets, and you've got the waist segmentation there, tapered at the ankle. Beautiful, but the fabric, I don't think that does the model much favors. And then we've got this lovely drapey style top with a tie neck at the top, and it's just a v-neck. So I feel like I've seen this one before recently, actually. I need to remember where. And then we've got a skirt, pencil skirt with those interesting geometrical details here. And they have used contrasting over there just to give it more segmentation. So I quite like the segmentation that's going on in this outfit, because you've got like the hem being in a different color over here, and then you've got the different color over there, and then you've got a different print, and then you've got the collar and the cuffs over there. So it's sort of like it's giving that interest, so your eye travels up. Really, really beautiful. So yeah, I feel like the styling in this issue is also top notch. And my colors, and such a beautifully tailored dress as well. So it's a shawl collar dress, and then we've got these French darts over here. Simple lines for all intents and purposes, very, very clean, and it just looks really gorgeous in this satin fabric over here. Love it. And I can see this one being a popular one as well. And taking it to the other side, so we've got like really classy tailoring over here, and then we're moving over to athleisure with the extra long jacket. It's more like a robe but with a zipper down here, so very practical, I would say. And then we've got that shawl dress again, the shawl collar dress, but we've used the contrasting trims, and I feel like Burda gets 10 out of 10 for this. It's like boom, boom, boom. If you're going to make something that's got all of these intricate details, you might as well really show them off. Beautiful, fantastic. And then to contrast that, we've got a very simple leisure wear stuff, because it's got the cowl neck. I find it very difficult to think of cowl necks as anything other more than sort of relaxed wear. Just the very nature of a cowl in itself is relaxed. But the details on this one is that it's got some chiffon, some pleated chiffon over here. And if you have to pleat chiffon and sew it so that it looks nice and straight, like over there, that nullifies the easy, because I do not think that working with chiffon to make pleats is easy. That's just my saying, unless they've used a trim. I may be very wrong, but if you've got a chiffon trim, then that's that. Oh, and then this jacket, really lovely 80s style jacket. It's got the quilted fabric over there, and then you've got the stand collar with the stud details. See if we can just zoom in slightly there. And it's got the pockets here. Gorgeous. I think the only trick you would have with this one is finding appropriate fabric, because it looks like they've used some sort of a water resistant fabric on here. But really, really gorgeous, gorgeous details. And it's got this, what do you call this? It's like a placket that goes over the zipper so that the zipper isn't visible. And I feel like that adds another level of class to it. This section is a really great addition to the issue, because they're taking the time to point out the different tiny details that have gone in. So for instance, here you can see that the button is actually made from, the toggles are actually made from the fabric, and you can see a close-up detail of these cute little cuffs that I was banging on about, how they've got a very discreet tucked under sleeve over here. And the detail here of the wide leg trousers and the chiffon, and you can see close-ups of the flange and the pleats. So I think it's really fantastic, because those are some of the things that may be difficult to see in the actual editorial shoot. And there's a really practical little tutorial on how to make a little turban, for when you're doing your morning time or your night time skincare routine. For the kids section, we just had some really simple baby trousers. So this one's the 56 to 80, so really, really young babies, sort of going up to toddler style. But what I thought was so adorable is just having like the little babies, because usually they're just doing the flat lays on them. And a little romper suit, always so useful for kids. And I love that these ones go up to the ankle, because the problem that I would have with the romper suits, they'd be so cute, but the babies would grow so quickly that, you know, their little toes would be getting restricted in them. And I would always end up cutting off the bottoms of the romper suits so that they could still use them. So I thought this is such a nice practical touch that they don't have the booties on the end. So yeah. Great stuff. And then we've got some more crafting tutorials here. So that is what we have on this issue. Sorry it took a little bit longer, but there was just so much to love and talk about with this particular issue. I did try to keep it short, but I couldn't help it. I am so excited and I love a lot of things in this issue. And I think it's another great capsule issue. There's so many things here that you can put together to create a capsule wardrobe. You know, you've got so many decent separates. So just for the separates alone with the skirts, you've got a wrap skirt, you've got the trousers, you've got the pencil skirt, you've got the pleated skirt, you've got the ruched skirt over here. You know, so many. And then with the tops, you can get the blouse. You have the blouse with the Peter Pan collar. You've got the vest over here. You've got the simple top with the integrated scarf. And you've got the more relaxed fit sweater. And then you've got the dresses. And then you have the duffel coat and the jumpsuit. So many great... I think this is a really great separates issue. And it's got a... I think it's got a lot of potential of becoming one of those classic issues that is going to yield over the next few years some of the, you know, most popular Burda patterns. And what I found quite refreshing about this issue was there were fewer repeats than in recent issues. Now, I understand and accept that, you know, due to lockdowns and whatever, a lot of businesses have had to adjust and what have you. And when you're producing a sewing magazine every single month, obviously some things are going to be impacted. So there did seem to be quite a lot of repeats, but with this one I was surprised at how few the number of repeats patterns were in this. But again, as Burda moves towards more selling of the fabrics, I think we can be expecting a lot more repeat, where they're sort of repeating the patterns but showing you how they could look different in a different texture or in a different fabric. But for me, value for money wise, there's great value for money. This shirt, I can see myself making several versions of this shirt. I love this skirt. It's going to form one of my bases of my winter clothes. Yes, really great potential. And then this dress is pretty fabulous, and I can see a lot of people loving this dress as well. So those are my thoughts on this issue. I know it's been a long one, and if you stayed until the end, thank you so much. You are a rock star. You definitely deserve a gin and tonic or a glass of wine or anything that tickles your fancy. Do let me know if you're going to be making anything from this issue, and let me know if you agree with me that this issue was quite refreshing in the sense that there weren't as many repeats as in the previous issues. And until I see you next time, lovely people, wherever you are in the world, happy sewing. Oh, do remember to like and subscribe. I keep forgetting to say stuff like that, but yeah, do remember to like and subscribe. It supports the channel. And as always, happy sewing. Bye.